Hello, this is Ana Pacheco, SantaFe101.com. My guest today is Nikki Murray, and she is with the Tucumcari Quay County Chamber of Commerce. And do I have your permission to record this interview?
You do, yes.
Well, good. Well, great. Well, so tell us a little bit about. I just have my memories of Tucumcari are always when I was much younger and I used to live in New York. I would drive home to Santa Fe, my hometown, and we'd always when as soon as we got to like Oklahoma, we'd start seeing these huge billboards that said Tucumcari tonight. And I don't know if they still use that campaign, but every time I think of the word Tucumcari, I think of Tucumcari tonight, and it used to say over 1,000 beds or something like that. So tell me a little bit about, let's start with that. Do they still, is that campaign still is it still in use?
It is still in use. Yep, it's still widely known and we still use it for some stuff. Tucumcari is a very interesting little town. We're right off of I-40, so we get a lot of I-40 attention. We're a main part of Route 66, so we get a lot of people, even from different countries, that want to come in and drive Route 66 and stop in and visit our local hotels that are really into the Route 66 community. They love like the neon signs and the murals that Tucumcari has. Some of our restaurants are widely known, so it's just a really good little stopping point from wherever you're going, either east or west. It's always a good little stopping point to whichever direction you're heading in if you just need a little break. So
And so Tucumcari has done a good job at preserving that whole Route 66 era. Is that correct? So it's
Yes.
kind of like when you get there, is it on Main Street, or what part of Tucumcari would that little section be?
So it would be right down Route 66 Boulevard.
Okay, and so that's kind of like driving, that's like going back in time, I guess a good 60, 70 years, right?
Yes. Before the interstate was built. Yes.
Yeah, that the interstate, yeah, that's just for our listeners. Route 66, which starts in Chicago and ends in Santa Monica, California. It was, that was like the main way to get to California up until about, I think it was 1937. I think it might have been President Eisenhower, but one of those presidents, that's when they started this interstate system throughout the country. So it really affected not just New Mexico, but parts of Arizona. But there's been a huge movement here in New Mexico. It's like Save Route 66 or something, where there's like these groups around the state where they try to preserve as much of it as they can. And actually, a little tidbit of information: Route 66 used to actually come through Santa Fe, my hometown, one
Okay.
block off of the plaza. And in Albuquerque, Central Avenue, which is like the main street in our largest city in the state of New Mexico, that's Route 66 used to go right smack dab in the middle of our largest city. So what is the chamber up to these days? If somebody's watching this interview and they're thinking, they want to move away from wherever they're living, and they're looking at New Mexico, they're not quite, so they don't know where in New Mexico yet, but they want to know a little bit about Quay County. So tell me what the chamber does to what it does to help existing businesses, and are you trying to grow your population? Are you trying to encourage people to come your way to open a new business?
Yeah. So I'm actually a new director. I just started in January. So
Uh-huh.
all this is really new to me. So it's kind of a good time, a new year and coming off of a hard year to begin with. I feel like it's a good time to restart things, rebranch, relaunch things, have new ideas, fresh ideas. Our goal here as the chamber is to be as supportive as we can to our small businesses, especially after 2020. In our small town, you just forget how important your small businesses are to your town, especially a town like Tucumcari. We thrive off of our small businesses. That's how we get people to come in. That's how we just maintain Tucumcari as our small businesses. So here at the chamber, we just really want to make sure that we are doing all that we can for small businesses, all businesses in general, but our focus is on small businesses. My goal is to get the chamber back alive again. It's kind of fallen down in the cracks for a little bit. And so my goal is to kind of get it alive again and get things going again now that our restrictions are loosening up here. Quay County is in the turquoise So our restrictions aren't as strict as they were. Of course, we still have them with COVID and everything, but they're not as tight. So I'm hoping that we could get just some functions going and some events going for our chamber members and just make them feel that they're part of the chamber and they're part of something, and why they're paying their dues is a benefit to them, and it's just not a yearly membership due. And it's kind of like, well, I haven't really heard from them in a while. I just want them to know that the chamber is there for them. And we have recently gotten a lot of mail in from people who are considering moving to Tucumcari. I think this past year, many people realized the benefits of living in a small town. A lot of things just don't affect us out here like they do. You know, we're a small community, we're a tight knit community. So what we see going on in the big cities, we don't really see that in the big towns. Of course, we were hit with COVID, but it wasn't catastrophic like some big cities. We were still a tight knit group. You just can't get that in some big towns as you can smaller cities. So we've had a lot of interest of people wanting to come in and move into Tucumcari. And what we try to do is we try to send them as much information as we possibly can. Rentals, homes that are for sale, restaurants, things to do in Tucumcari, or Quay County, not just Tucumcari, but Quay County. Businesses that are hiring. We have a lady who runs a Quay County jobs page and does really, really good updating of all the jobs that we have available here. So we try to get that sent out to them and make us look appealing for them to want to come and move down with us over here in little Tucumcari.
And so what else would be an attraction? Why would people want to move there besides it's a small town and it's close knit? What are some of the advantages? Like for instance, just so I know, like I know you're right off of I-40. How far are you from, like, what is a major town that you're close to? Would it be in Texas, or would it be?
Yeah, we're about 100 miles from Amarillo. It takes about an hour and 15 minutes to get to Amarillo. We're about 90 miles from Clovis, which Clovis is fairly decent size as well.
And that's Mexico. Okay.
That's Mexico, yes. And then we're 3 hours from Albuquerque. So a lot of our main people do like their doctor's appointments and their big shopping in Texas, in Amarillo, Texas, because it's just the bigger place for us to get out, and like they have Sam's and everything. So you still get that small town feel, but you're not so far where you're so far from a big city and you're traveling hours and hours and hours just to get to a mall or something. You're only an hour and 15 minutes out from a big city, 3 hours out from Albuquerque, which isn't terrible.
No, it's still 3 hours is enough. It's not like you don't want to drive 3 hours just to go to a mall, I don't think.
No,
You know.
no,
But you mentioned doctors. I mean, what is the medical community like in Tucumcari? Because retirees, they need to have access to good medical care.
We have clinics here. We have Presbyterian Hospital and the medical group that is here. We have private practices that are here. If it's something that these doctors can't, we're just too small to handle or something, they send them to Amarillo or Clovis, which would be the biggest area or hospital for them to go to. But if you talk to any locals, the commute to Amarillo or Clovis really isn't terrible. I think we're just also used to it that it's.
Oh no, an hour's not bad, but 3 hours sounds like a lot. What about, but Presbyterian's like a regular hospital. You have an emergency room and everything?
Correct.
Yeah, and you air evac people. You can get people by helicopter. How
Correct.
far are you from El Paso?
Ooh, that's a good question.
So it must be far then. It's probably further than Albuquerque
then. Pretty bad. Yeah.
Okay, and then you mentioned that in Tucumcari or Quay County, your small businesses are so important. What are some of the types of businesses, except with the exception of restaurants, because that's going to be an obvious. What other types of small businesses are active in Tucumcari right now?
So we have boutiques that are active. We have custom, t-shirt shops that are here. We have small business, mechanical mom and pop businesses, RV parks, Blazing Saddles, one of them that's real good here. What else do we have? Of course, like you said, restaurants.
Is tourism big in Tucumcari?
It is because of Route 66.
Okay. Now, I don't know if it's your town, and please forgive me because I do a lot of these interviews. Are you the ones that are near, it's called the Blue Hole or something? That you?
That is Santa Rosa.
That's Santa Rosa. Okay, pardon me. Okay,
for
I knew
last
that
year.
was out there too. What are some of, if somebody were watching this, people are thinking, I'm gonna, I need to get out of Dallas or San Francisco or something, and they're thinking about Tucumcari. What would be some of the, like, what would be the types of businesses that you could benefit from? Who that could bring energy to the city? Like, what types of businesses would be value added to your town?
Like if somebody was wanting to move in,
Yeah, they want to move here and they want to start. I mean, this is not me, but it would be a big thing here because we're such a big tourist town here. But like, say somebody wants to bring an electric bike company here, where you rent little bikes with an app. I mean, not to say that, but what would be something like that in Tucumcari? Like, what type of businesses? Would it be manufacturing? I mean, what could the city really benefit from, or what do you see that you don't have enough of, or you don't
uh,
have any of that you know of?
I think what would really benefit Tucumcari is some outdoor recreational stuff. We have two lakes that are near us. We have Ute Lake and then Conscious Lake. Um, so we do have the lakes, but other than that, there's not many outdoor recreational stuff for people to do. And I think where we are, we could benefit from it and we could easily accomplish it. Just nobody has wanted to attempt it yet.
And
But
so,
I
what type of business is outdoor recreation? What is that like?
like biking or hiking or renting like four-wheelers. Tucumcari and Quay County is very open with lots of land and lots of space to do things. So, outdoor things like four-wheeling, mountain bikes, hiking.
What about horseback riding? Do you have horses? I mean, do people do that stuff out there?
People have horses, but it's personal, for personal
But
use.
so do you think like having somebody like that you could rent out, you could do horseback riding, you could
Yeah,
go on
I think
trails?
yeah, a lot of people are. I know out in like Red River and Ruidoso, that's a big thing out there is people renting horses and riding them. So that might be something that would be beneficial for Tucumcari. Trying to think of what else.
Well, that was just a thought there. What about, is it easy to buy a home there? I mean, are there a lot of homes in the market? Do you know what the medium, I know this is, I typically interview realtors, but do you know how expensive it is to live in Tucumcari in terms of
It's
buying a
very
home?
inexpensive to live in Tucumcari. There are houses for sale. Of course, they're going to need some love added to them, but it's so inexpensive that if you come in from Dallas or a bigger city, usually you don't have a problem purchasing a house and up for very very minimal amount of money.
And what
So
about rentals? Do you have a lot of rentals if people want to just try out the city, but they're not ready to commit to?
we do have a lot of rentals. We actually keep a list here in the office of our rental our landlords and who all owns rental companies or rental houses, and so we have a list there. So there's lots of rentals here. I think Tucumcari is more known for rentals than home owning. That's just our demographic. More people rent than own, but it's very very easy to do either or.
Okay, and then who are some of your major employers there? The hospital, who else would be like a major employer?
The hospital, state and city workers are a big one. Um, I think those three are probably our top. We also have, it would also be a city worker. So at the port of entry, that's a big employer.
What's the port of entry?
So it's where trucks come in and they have to scan the trucks and make sure they're not overloaded
Oh, so
or
that's like right up because you're right there on I-40.
right there on I-40. Yep. So that's a state job. So state, city, hospital, those are probably our three main um, big jobs that are here in Tucumcari. Then you've got your restaurants, fast food, the grocery store.
And do you have any major big box stores there? Is Sam's Club there or any of the big box stores?
No, we have a Lowe's grocery store and then we have a Dollar General, and then we are actually getting a Family Dollar and a Dollar Tree
Okay.
combined. So we don't have any big box stores. That's why everybody usually travels out of town to go to big box stores.
Well, that might be one of the attractions of Tucumcari because a lot of people want to get away from those big box stores. And then what about gyms? Do you have gyms? Are there places to work out in Tucumcari?
There is a privately owned gym. We did have a Spin Fitness, but unfortunately, due to COVID, they had to shut down. So that was kind of sad. That was a really good thing for Tucumcari. All the locals really enjoyed it. But
Well, that might come
unfortunately,
back. I have a feeling that after COVID, a lot of the people that unfortunately that have lost, they're going to come back bigger and stronger. As
yeah.
so maybe so that would be an interesting that maybe opening like a Planet Fitness or like a that have to be a chain, but
Yeah.
maybe opening some type of a workout place would be good for Tucumcari. What is the demographic? Do you have a lot of younger people there, kids with couples with children, or does it tend to skew
Um,
older?
it tends to be more older, retired
Okay.
people. There is a few families. Usually after graduation, a lot of our younger kids tend to move away for college because we're a small town. So they, no matter what they want to do, they're going to have to eventually move away to attend a college or you know further their education. Some of them come back, some of them don't. Just kind of depends on what they decide to do. So it's really more of an older, retired population.
And then do you have retirement communities there? Do you have like places where people can live in, but they get their meal, like a retirement community? Do those exist in Tucumcari?
We don't have a retirement community. We have a senior citizen. Um, it's a senior citizen building, so the seniors can go there and get their meals. But a retirement community, no.
So maybe that's another business that could start up there, that maybe somebody would start a retirement community, because a lot of retirees want to move to New Mexico because we have a temperate climate. It's just a nice place to retire, and a lot of people can no longer afford Santa Fe. That was like a first choice for a lot of people. What about transportation? I mean, here in Santa Fe, at least before pre-COVID, there was a lot of Uber and Lyft drivers. Do you have those? Do those exist in Tucumcari?
Because we're so little, if you unfortunately don't have a means of transportation, it's fairly easy to get around by foot unless you need to go out of town or something. But there's no like Uber or Lyft. We're just too small of a community for something like that.
So if somebody was retired and they wanted to do something like that, could they start an Uber or Lyft out there, or like a car service? Would that be? I'm
Oh,
just
I guess you never know until you try. I can't say no, it wouldn't work, and somebody come in here. I guess you just don't know what would work and what wouldn't until somebody tries it. So
okay. And then what about, we have all these DoorDash and all these delivery apps here. Do you do a lot of food deliveries in your little town?
before COVID, it wasn't as popular for food delivery. But now, during COVID and stuff, it got more popular for the restaurants and the businesses. Not very many fast food businesses do it, but the privately owned restaurants, they were doing delivery. A lot of our fast food restaurants had the mobile app, so you could just type in your order and pull up and get it. But as a app like DoorDash, Uber Eats, no, none of that. But personal
Okay.
mom and pop restaurants, they do deliver.
So getting back to Tucumcari tonight, how many motels and hotels do you have in Tucumcari?
Oh, I couldn't even count on my fingers how many we have. That's probably our biggest thing is hotels.
And
Um,
so, yeah, and it's basically just like overnight. I mean, people are driving to the East Coast or to the West Coast, and they decide they sleep in Tucumcari, and then they take off the next day. So that's
yeah,
basically still a big
correct.
part of your business model there. Well,
Well,
we're getting close to the end. Is there anything else you want to say about Tucumcari, or if anybody were interested in contacting you, how Tucumcari Quay County Chamber of Commerce could assist them in possibly starting a business in your area?
yeah, I think if they have any questions, they could always. I'm learning. Of course, I just started in January, so I'm learning as much as I possibly can for somebody who just started in January, and kind of an awkward time to be starting because we just opened our door finally. So, but I think if they have any questions, we could always help them and figure out what they need and what's best for them and their business that they want to start and get them in the right direction to get that business started. Whatever we can do to help, that's what the chambers.
And you are such a small town, do you provide like a listing of companies that might be hiring, or people can leave a resume with you and say, could you get this to your members, or do you do anything of any type of networking in that area?
So we can get them, like if they're a chamber member and we know that they're hiring and the person saw that they're hiring. I don't see anything wrong with sending in a resume for them. But of course, we're so small town that our small businesses really do like when a person takes in their stuff and does it on a personal level than me taking it in for them. And but I think whatever to help somebody move down to Tucumcari, we're always accepting more people. We can never,
You're open for business.
We're open for business, yes. So,
well, I want to thank you so very much. And all you listening out there, always remember Tucumcari tonight.
yes,
Thanks so much.
thank you.
Take care.